I'm Alex Pino with Tiny House Talk, and today I'm excited to introduce everyone to, or those of you listening, to Stu of Maximum Extreme Tiny Houses. I just found out about Stu, not too long ago, only a couple weeks or so, but I got to see one of his houses. He's already working on his second one that he's building, so he's a new tiny house builder, and we're going to get to hang out with him here and learn about him and find out, what got him interested into all this. So, Stu, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me.
No problem. I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, Alex.
So, just give us a little bit of your introduction to tiny homes. When did you first learn about them, and can you tell us the story behind that?
Sure. I was the new homes director for a large Coldwell Banker franchise for a number of years, and have been involved in new construction during that time frame, obviously. And I've always had kind of an affinity for architecture and different forms of it. And I saw an ad on the internet of Jay Schaefer's Tumbleweed Homes, and saw his book advertised, and purchased the book and read through it and found it pretty intriguing. So anyway, I kept the book, and I thought that would be a new opportunity for a project. And what I wanted to do is here in Ogden City, where I live, which is north of Salt Lake City, it's an old railroad town, and I approached the city on, initially I was interested in Jay's designs regarding the smaller homes, not the homes on a platform or chassis or trailer. And I wanted to go in and do a small project and have the backing, the capital, et cetera. But the city, as sometimes cities do, just drug their feet. So I got frustrated with it. What I decided to do was look at a different avenue. And I had a client that worked in the oil industry, and he owned a number of frac tanks. And I approached him one day, and I said, hey, because he was educating me on the oil industry, and I said, hey, Brian, what do you think if we took these homes that are on the trailers and introduce those for a housing alternative option in the oil fields? And he said, I think you'd sell them like crazy. And so that's kind of the genesis of how we got involved in doing this. So basically our homes are these tiny homes that have many of the similarities that you'd find with a number of your readers, but ours are really just beefed up. I guess you could say they're tiny homes on steroids. And so they're designed to withstand extreme temperature fluctuations, and they've got onboard water storage that's far more than you'd see in something typical. So we're excited about it. It's a fantastic opportunity, and my guys, my crew, and myself are we're excited about the whole process.
That's incredible to hear. So you've already got clients ready to buy the homes, and this is oil clients?
Yeah, a number of them are folks that I'm not sure if you're familiar with what's going on in the Dakotas, particularly in North Dakota. There's a large oil formation there called the Bakken, and it's estimated right now that it's about 25 billion retrievable barrels of oil. And I just got back about 4 or 5 weeks ago from Williston, North Dakota, which is kind of the epicenter of everything, and that place is dripping with money. And the issue that they have in northwestern North Dakota is housing. For these workers, they've got a negative unemployment situation going on. I mean, they're paying $1,500 bonuses for people to work at McDonald's to sign on. And not only is it in northwestern North Dakota, but it's in eastern Montana. And the issue is that many of these cities and municipalities do not have the infrastructure to handle this because, frankly, it was unanticipated. Some technological advances had taken place that allowed for the extraction of the resources that we have there as a country. So what these guys are seeing in these cities is their sewer systems can't handle it. So as we did some research and some of the innovations that your readers and builders that you subscribe to, I mean, these guys have nailed it, and we've taken and just crossed over the application. So where many of your readers and subscribers, the people that build these tiny homes, they get it, and being ecologically friendly works for our clientele, because we use composting or incinerating toilets so that it doesn't tax the infrastructure out there. And what that does is, by having an incinerating toilet or having a composting toilet, it doesn't utilize a lift system for a municipality. It doesn't utilize their holding ponds or their sewer systems, because frankly they can't handle anymore. So it gives us an inherent advantage going in there, that we can say, hey, look, city commissioners or county commissioners of XYZ city, our little project or our little product will complement what you're trying to do here. Our units are safer because they can withstand the temperature fluctuations. They're built to conventional construction methodology that you would see in building a home, and versus just a regular RV or fifth wheel, where you've got maybe inch and a quarter insulation, and they don't have the rigidity that ours have. And we utilize SIP panels, structural insulated panels, which have actually been around since the 1930s. They originated out of the University of Wisconsin, and we use those because it's a dense foam core, and these things start out at an R26 rating, and as the temperature drops, the R value increases. And we use a company out of Idaho called Rafor, and they've got some patents pending on some unique qualities or properties that they have. So ours are able to withstand temperature fluctuations. I mean, we say that we can go down to 50 below, but as I talk to the guys at the company, they think that we're rated for better than that. So it's a pretty cool product.
That was going to be my next question, because I'm really into the SIP panels, and I thought that was great that you guys are using it. And how do you feel about? I wanted to ask you. I was curious. How fast can you build these, and is it because of these panels that you can build so fast?
Yeah, we can. Our goal is to be where we ramp up, and as the orders continue to come in, we need to be in a position where we would be able to build about 5 of these a week. And the panels definitely speed up the process, because what we can do is we can call up the plant and say we need specific dimensions for plan X, and they can ship those to us ready to go. And then the assembly, I mean, what my guys end up, they're great craftsmen, and really they wear numerous hats in building this, but they're professional assemblers, and that's a lot of what this is. And so yeah, the SIPs, of putting these together.
That's great. And another, to switch the subject just a little bit, is your company only offering these homes to these companies that want to make housing for their employees, for the oil and all that, or are you also open to taking orders from, possibly maybe our readers or something like that?
Sure. No, that's a great question. And we're definitely open to doing some custom applications. In fact, my guys are itching to do things like that. And our next prototype that we've got out there actually has taken on the look of a caboose by design. And think of an old Pullman car on the inside, where we've got 3 bunks stacked on top of each other, and we do some real fun applications with it. But we have really positioned our company, and where we hope to take it in the future, is that the exploration and extraction of natural resources will be our bread and butter. That type of clientele, the trucking, the oil, all of that keeps the lights on, and is hopefully the profit center for our company. But what we're all really looking forward to is the custom applications. My brother-in-law is our chief guy in terms of cinch carpentry, and he's a big Harley guy. And so we've got applications that we envision and doing some custom stuff for folks like at Sturgis. We're going to enter the plan there. We see applications for FEMA or government agencies like the Forest Service, where smoke jumpers would assemble. These are rugged and can go wherever. The custom application. My background in college, I had been in college on a football scholarship. So tailgating, we think, would be a great crossover. And then the other thing that we've kind of really looked at is, I don't know if you've seen on cable television, I think it's Nat Geo or one of those, the preppers. And the extreme preppers, we feel that our trailer offers a great opportunity for these folks in terms of what they call bug-out trailers. Because we, like, for instance, our stock model, we carry anywhere from 105 gallons to 150 gallons of fresh water, which I know many comparable RVs don't carry that much. And so we offer some unique qualities that have, we will hope, a broad crossover. So any of your readers that wanted to look at that, we can take our plans and our ideas and designers, or we can take theirs and incorporate them. Yeah, we welcome that. We'd love to do some custom stuff, absolutely.
That is very, very exciting. So how long has it been since you guys have been working with these tiny homes?
Actually, the concept, you'll laugh with this. I've been working on this project for about a year and a half, and I conducted, much like what I would do when I was in the real estate capacity and working with a client, I wanted to make sure I had a pretty good feel for our clientele. So I conducted a number of field interviews with people that worked in man camps or in the oil and mining industries, because that's where we primarily started, and was kind of going at a slow pace, and I kept bugging my wife and say, honey, come look at this, and what do you think of this design? And finally she said, you know what, I want you to shut up and go and start the company, because I'm tired of hearing about it. And so we've been building since about August, actually. But it was really, I owe her it was her encouragement in a forceful way that said, hey, look, either shut up or go do it.
She gave you a nice kick in the butt to go to get going. That's great.
And that's exactly what took place.
And so now you're on your. I understand that your first house you did some kind of deal with Dan Lachey, who a lot of our readers are familiar with, of Tiny Home Builders. And so you kind of used part of his tiny living design. Is that right? Can you tell us a little bit about that? How you guys worked that out, or what you used and all that?
Well, when I looked at, as I said, I looked at a number of different plans, and I thought, I don't want to go in and reinvent the wheel. I want to work with some people that, number one, seem real competent, and I called him and talked with him on the phone, and I was impressed with his knowledge. And I told him I wanted some modifications made to it, like we needed a dual loft on it and a few other minor things. And he was real quick in terms of getting the plans to me and real reasonable on the pricing. And then what we did is we took that basic shell and reformulated it back with the guys at the plant with the SIPs, the structural insulated panels, and with our roof system and all of that. So we took the basic format that he had and deconstructed it and rebuilt it up based on our specs that we wanted. But his design, I thought, was fantastic. I liked the look of it from an aesthetic point of view. And the reason I chose that was twofold. One is, it appealed to me, but as I conducted the field interviews with the guys that were in the field in the oil and mining industries, one of the things that really surprised me that they all, virtually every single one of them said to me, is they wanted something that felt like home. They didn't want something that felt like a man camp. They didn't want something that they felt like they were staying in a storage container. They wanted something that was a piece of home. I thought, wow, I had anticipated, well, they wanted, maybe they wanted 800 count Egyptian cotton sheets, or they wanted, a fridge full of beer, but that was one of the things that really stood out to me, is that they wanted something that felt like home. And when they're working in these really extreme weather and conditions, and it's a meat grinder of a job. These guys are working their tails off. But that was something that they all said. And they said when they came home, they wanted something that was warm, they wanted something that was safe, and they wanted something that felt like home. So that's kind of how we came through all that.
When you did these field interviews, was that before all the tiny house ideas, or is them saying that what led you to tiny houses?
Actually, the tiny house concept is what I wanted to do, but what I wanted to do was to find out what was important, so I knew what kind of plan to land on, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I had the idea conceptually that we wanted to go with a mobile unit, and that we would build it, but I wanted to know what they wanted, instead of me taking my own idea and saying, hey, here's a great idea, you guys, I'm sure you're going to love it. I wanted to find out what they wanted first, and then build it and say, here it is, we built what you said you wanted. And it's been well received. Yeah, and
that I bet that's so much of a more effective way than guessing, I guess you would say.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to think that I have all the answers, and I've learned the hard way that I have very few. And so it makes it a lot easier if I'm trying to solve a problem that I know clearly what the problem is, and then we solve it based on what the ultimate customers or consumer wants, versus me trying to tell them this is what you need. That usually doesn't work real well.
Very good point there, Stu. So just to wrap things up, I wanted you to just maybe share any final thoughts you had, but most of all, let our listeners know where they can find you online, and
Sure.
Somewhere that they can reach you.
Sure. Let me give you the information for contacting us. Our website is www.maximus, MAXINUS, extreme, EXTREME.com. And the contact information for myself and my email is all on the website. If you need to give me a call, feel free to. I'm pretty available. And we're located in Ogden, Utah, as I said, which is north of Salt Lake City. And in parting, I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity of featuring our company. And we're excited about this process. We're excited to be part of the tiny home community. And I think our product is another complementary arrow in the quiver of a movement that I think is really catching on here. And I think that a lot of people across the country, this is a great alternative, not only our product, but your other folks that participate in the tiny home movement. I think it's a great thing for our communities and our country as a whole. So I'm just excited to be part of it, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Stu. I'm really glad to have gotten to meet you and hang out here for a little bit, and I'm excited at what you're doing. It's definitely very, very cool and different. So honored to have you on here. Thanks again.
All right. Take care.